Okay, welcome back for our next Daily Viewpoint. We asked Don Wald to join us for this Viewpoint topic because he was actually in Azle last week talking to residents about the frequent earthquakes. There have been 32 earthquakes, can we say minor? Mostly minor earthquakes since November, and several researchers have established a relationship between the earthquakes and the underground injection wells. And this, you really can't find a more hot button topic right now in that Azle area because people are very concerned for obvious reasons. So, Don, explain to us a little bit about the science, because when we say there's a difference between the fracking process and the injection wells. Right.
Well, the U.S. Geological Survey just came out with an article just a couple of days ago, and it's talking about man-made earthquakes. And it establishes that over the last 3 or 4 years, there have been more than 100 minor earthquakes in the U.S. each year, compared to, for the previous 30 years, maybe 20.
Wow.
And so this increase is being associated with this natural gas drilling boom, which is happening in the country and has been going on for the last 4 or 5 years. Now, to your question, the difference between the fracking process and these injection disposal wells is simply that the fracking is the drilling process.
To get to the natural gas.
Yes, and they're using horizontal drilling and fracking, which basically uses thousands of tiny little bursts of water into the earth to blow it up, creating really tiny little earthquakes, but not enough to register. Well, the process requires millions of gallons of water, and that wastewater is injected deep into the ground. Like
in a separate process.
In a separate process, but it's the wastewater from the drilling process, and it's injected like 14,000 feet down into the ground. And the U.S. Geological Survey is mounting evidence that they believe it's that disposal process which is causing the instability in the ground by going down 14,000 feet. Now, there are some researchers that are saying that there may be about 2 or 3 faults in the Azle area. And the lubrication, believe it or not, from these injection wells is creating a shift down, deep down in the Earth's surface, causing actually a slight tectonic shift capable of causing the earthquakes.
So is it basically the pressure of all this water that's been injected that's causing these earthquakes? And I was going to ask you, the earthquakes, in the end, are they affecting like the foundations of these homes? Are they going to collapse?
Well, there is some minor, people are reporting some level of minor damage, and it depends on who you ask. There have been some examples, like in Oklahoma, where there was an earthquake in the 5 to 6 range. Most of these out in the Azle area are in the 3.0 range.
On the Richter scale.
On the Richter scale. So it takes a little bit more than 3.0 to do major damage. But people are starting to report some cracks and
But I can say from experience that you can feel a 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yes. In my...
yes.
It happened, I was home one night, and we had a 3-something, and it felt like a Mack truck had hit my house. And I have a large house. So it...
And you don't live in the Azle area.
No, I don't. I live in the Coppell area, and it went boom.
Yeah.
And then followed by an aftershock. But you can feel a 3-point.
Oh, and we talked to several people outside the post office in Azle just the other day, and virtually everybody had experienced an earthquake.
Yeah.
And they all describe it.
I think it's important to point out, though, this is a theory. There's no scientific proof that even the injection wells are causing the earthquakes.
Right, and if you talk to the Railroad Commission, and that's what the people of Azle were doing today, they took a bus down to Austin so that they could address their concerns directly to the Texas Railroad Commission, which regulates oil and gas. Now, the Railroad Commission has hired a seismologist. SMU has placed some of these seismographs out there. They're trying to do some real research to see if they can pinpoint any kind of correlation logistically between either the injection wells, the disposal wells, or the fracking and where the earthquakes are happening.
But whatever the cause, I think we should add that people are seeing some real damage to their homes, cracks in walls, cracks in bricks, and things like that.
Some damage,
right?
Yeah, and that raises minor damage at this point, raising a whole other question about earthquake insurance and and all the insurance questions. Who's going to pay for that kind of thing? So it goes on and on. So nothing definitive as yet, but there is a big difference between the fracking process, that's the drilling process, and the disposal of the wastewater that's used in the fracking process.
Very good. Thanks, Don. Thanks for clearing it up for us.
Sure.